r/AskReddit created by routinereddit. What is a fun fact that is mildly disturbing? Christopher Mintz-Plass's mom had to be on set during the filming of his attempted sex scene in Superbad because he was only 17 at the time it was being filmed. I feel more for the girl in that scene, to be honest. Seeing it's Hollywood, there were probably at least 20 other people watching as well as no actual sex happening. Yes, but he knows his mom, like, really well. I'll do you one better. Sophie Turner, who played Sansa Stark in Goatee, BO parents are separated. The first time her dad ever visited her on set was the day they shot the Ramsay Bolton rape scene. It's not porn. It's HBO. Like, that's not a coincidence. Lord Ramsay wouldn't have it any other way. Dolphins can and will pick stuff up and move it around using their penises. Dolphins are the Florida man of the ocean. There was a scientist hired by NASA in the 60s or something that was trying to teach a dolphin to speak. It's a really fascinating story of a time when government departments could spend money on things like trying to get a dolphin to speak. They learned a lot, but nobody really remembers anything about that. All anything anyone wants to talk about is how the researcher definitely jacked off the dolphin and definitely might have banged the dolphin. They also rape people and are known to push people out to sea about as much as they push them ashore. They also get high off sea urchins and pufferfish. They pass it around like a freaking barn. Further edit, didn't realize this would get so much attention, so I have another dolphin fact for you. A guy had his penis crushed trying to bang a dolphin. He worked for SeaWorld or something. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. In medieval times, diabetes was known as the honey sickness, and to test for it a physician would have to taste your urine. In Korean it is called, which translates to sweet urine disease. Diabetes mellitus, the full name of the disease, actually translates to a similar thing. Mellitus is like honey in Greek. There's a condition in which people become blind, but deny their blindness. The brain creates false perceptions to fill in for the lack of sight. It's called the Anton syndrome. So can they still see, or do they only think they can see, and it's just a hallucination? They are not denying being blind. The brain just fills in holes. My mom has this. So for example, she will be walking down the hallway and the brain will just repeat the hallway instead of a doorway she can't see because of a hole in her vision. So when she sees the doorway as it actually comes into her line of sight, she usually runs into the door because the brain was filling in spots that weren't the door to make up for her lost vision. Gotcha. That's super interesting, but must be a difficult thing to deal with. Yeah, she quickly realized driving was a bad idea. For her, it has progressed slowly, so it was hard to tell. When she is in places she knows, her brain fills things in with stuff that is familiar or even correct. Like the layout of our house isn't going to change, so that's usually normal, but new places get filled with less detail and more generic stuff. Like when she's in a car, she doesn't see other cars passing until they're literally right next to the car. She's described it as it seeming like cars have teleported right in front or next to the car she's in. She doesn't drive, obviously. There's a trick to check for holes that her eye doctor taught her. Basically, you look straight ahead and move your hand all around your line of sight. If at any point your hand disappears and becomes the wall behind you, you probably have her eye problems. But there's a normal blind spot everyone has in each eye, so it happening once is be okay. She's described it as her hand suddenly disappearing right before her eyes, looking like the background instead. A lion's tongue is so rough it can lick your skin off. I learned this valuable piece of information from a toy in Araba's kids meal when I was younger. On a related note, in medieval times a form of torture involved a goat licking the sole of your feet. Their tongue is rough enough that it can slowly lick off your skin, and the salt used to encourage the goat to lick them, only make pain worse. Wow. What kind of psychopath came up with that idea the first time? A goat licking the heck out of someone until they reach insanity. It's so crazy, it just might work. Sir, he stole bread. Okay, let us get a goat to lick his feet and turn him mad, I think. Maybe some sort of rehabilitation or prison tea. No, the goat. Sir, the salt costs us 100 times more than the bread he stole. No matter, God wills it. With some poor servant legging it to the pantry for more salt. Will flour do? Soon after, Arby's settled a class action lawsuit and promised never to make toys out of lion tongues ever again. It was the easiest $1 million I've made. And so worth it. What was the second easiest million you made? The million I made the strippers by giving it to them. Moths will vibrate their genitals as a way to prevent bats from locating them. Joker. Where did you geo? What's the matter, bats? Can't see a guy with some jiggle in his pickle? Ahoo. You'll pay for this. I read this in Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy's voices. Turtles can't masturbate. Found Master Splinter's Reddit account. Turtle PPPOW. This is cursed af. If Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin got stuck on the moon, the official policy was to cut communication and let them suffocate in silence. Nixon even had a speech prepared in case this happened. They were too at risk to qualify for life insurance, so they autographed memorabilia beforehand that their family could sell if they couldn't return. P.S. They also had to pass through customs when they returned. Did they have to take their passports with them to the moon to be able to go through customs when they got back? At customs, Neil frantically patting his pockets. Oh crap, I left it on the shuttle. Dang, must have fallen out of my pocket when I was on the freaking moon. Keep your stuff on bus, we are going back. If the shuttle took off from the US and landed in the US and never touched down elsewhere on Earth, did it count as international travel? It isn't your sweat that smells. It comes from bacteria living on your body, essentially crapping stuff out after they feast on your secretions. At least I'm not the only one crapping on myself. I missed 10 seconds ago when I didn't know this existed. Tumors can grow teeth, hair, eyes, and miniature versions of organs. I believe they're called children. Now that's a parasite. Source: 2 kids. I hear the pitter patter of tiny parasites. Dermoid cyst. I had one on an ovary and it had hair and teeth. I told my sister I was going to ask for it in a jar and she'd be an aunt. I meant teratomus. I'll have to research dermoid cysts a bit, but 10/10ths approach there. Med student here. A dermoid cyst is just another term for a mature teratoma, and they are by far the freakiest looking thing that can grow inside your body. Woodpecker's tongue wraps all the way around his skull. Interestingly, this effectively makes a woodpecker immune to concussions. So whack him in the head to your heart's content. Gonna test this with a mallet. Be right back. Edit. I'm back. It's only been 4 hours. That dang woodpecker knocked me out with my mallet. When I came to, I was tied up on railroad tracks. Some walrus looking fella named Wally let me loose and told me he's had nothing but trouble with that bird. The sea cucumber will disembowel itself when it feels threatened. It will projectile vomit its digestive system to scare off a predator. And the ejector is a delicacy in Japan called kanawata. For the second time in one thread, your reply is both informative and literal. Sick. Knowing sure makes me feel sick. I think I did this at my 8th grade dance. Everyone thought I was weird, but now I know I was just doing the sea cucumber. Breaking news. New popular dance called the sea cucumber takes over high schools worldwide. Still better than the floss. For some reason I read this in Cassie Kassum's voice. There are over 200 corpses on Mount Everest, and they are used as waypoints for climbers. I just watched a Bear Grylls interview for Vanity Fair where he goes over 10 survival scenes in movies or shows, and one of the last ones is a movie about a guy who dies on Everest, and he gets choked up cause he climbed Everest, and has seen the guy who's featured in the film. The body is perfectly preserved, and he's like 20 yards from the top and everyone passes him. Everyone loves to crap on that dude for the fake stuff he did on Man vs. Wild, but nobody remembers that it's just a TV show. In reality, Bear Grylls a freaking boss. Pretty genuine dude too from what I can tell. Probably from all the pussy drinks. OMG, at first glance I thought you were talking about the frozen dude. I just laughed to myself on the toilet, thanks. Dude, same. Really helps the flow. Same. It helped me poop. Meerkats are adorable creatures. They even started in a show called Meerkat Manor. But they are, by far, the most murderous species of any animal, killing more of their own species with greater frequency than any other animal. I was at a zoo a while back, and they actually described them as piranhas of the desert. Piranhas aren't nearly as dangerous as people think. The rumor that they're bloodthirsty and evil comes from, I'm a bit foggy on the specifics. Some guy had a pond full of piranhas, and for some reason, sorry I don't remember why, he starved them, then went to either a mayor, congressman, or the president. So he fed the piranhas something, like a cow, and they devoured near instantly, like absolutely anything on the brink of death via starvation would. And ever since then they've been seen as bloodthirsty flesh hounds.